Children dying of a cold exposure as winter hits Gaza. The Ukraine funding deal keeps Kyiv in fight. Hello, good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Nicholas and you're watching World Today. Doctors Without Borders, known by its French initials MSF, has warned that babies and children in the Gaza Strip are dying from harsh winter weather, calling on Israel to ease its aid blockade as the military continues to violate the ceasefire and press on with its genocidal war. Citing the death of a 29-year-old premature baby, Saeed Assad Abidin, from severe hypothermia in southern Gaza's Khan Yunis, MSF said that winter storms combined with the already dire living conditions are increasing health risks. According to Gaza's Ministry of Health, the death toll from extreme weather stood at 13 as of Thursday. Another 2-week-old baby, Muhammad Khalil Abdul Al-Khair, froze to death without access to proper shelter or clothing earlier this week. In addition to the growing number of deaths, MSF said its staff has recorded higher rates of respiratory infections that it expects to increase throughout the winter, posing a particular danger to children under 5. As Gaza is battered by heavy rains and storms, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians continue to struggle in flooded and broken makeshift tents. MSF also vehemently called on Israeli authorities to urgently allow a massive scale-up of aid into the Strip. In a related development, the combined number of deaths and injuries in the Gaza Strip has surpassed 240,000 since the conflict between Hamas and Israel erupted on the 7th October 2023. According to Gaza's health authorities, on Saturday, the data showed that over the past 48 hours, 13 bodies were brought to Gaza hospitals. The number comprises 6 newly reported fatalities and 7 recovered from the rubble, bringing the overall death toll to 70,925, with 171,185 people injured. The authorities said that 401 Palestinians in the enclave have been killed and 1,108 others injured by Israeli attacks since the ceasefire agreement took effect on the 10th of October. Meanwhile, the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip remains fragile, even as the immediate threat of famine has eased. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres warned on Friday that around 1.6 million people, more than 75% of Gaza's population, are projected to face extreme levels of acute food insecurity and critical risk of malnutrition. Meanwhile, Israeli occupation forces have advanced into the Quentinera area of Syria's occupied Golan Heights and set up 2 military checkpoints. The Israeli military operation on Saturday took place in the villages of Ain Ziwan and Al-Ajraf in the southern part of the country. For months, Israeli forces have conducted near-daily incursions into southern Syria, particularly in the Quentinera Governorate, carrying out arrests, erecting checkpoints and bulldozing land, all of which have prompted growing public anger and unrest. Syrian state television said the Israeli incursion was a violation of Syrian sovereignty, noting that the army used 5 military vehicles to set up the checkpoint in Ain Ziwan. The latest raid comes one day after Israeli forces advanced towards the towns of Al-Asha, Bir Ajam, Barika, Al-Azam and Waihina in the southern Quneitra countryside. Despite a reduction in direct military threats, the Israeli army continues to carry out air raids that have caused civilian casualties and destroyed Syrian army sites and facilities. Over the past year, Israel has launched more than 600 air, drone and artillery attacks across Syria, averaging nearly 2 attacks a day. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said on Saturday that a European Union decision on funding for Ukraine strengthens Kyiv's position in future peace talks. Speaking at a press conference with the Portuguese Prime Minister Luis Montenegro, Zelensky said that Ukraine would receive 90 billion euros in EU funding for 2026 and 2027. 2027. Zelensky also said that elections can be held in parts of Ukraine occupied by Russia. He stressed that it was not up to Russian President Vladimir Putin to decide when or how elections should take place in Ukraine. Zelensky added that Ukraine and Portugal had agreed on the joint production of Ukrainian sea drones, calling modern drones a key tool for defense across Europe.
Сьогодні є спільна, важлива, дуже спільна заява України та Португалії. Щойно ми підписали її про встановлення партнерства для виробництва морських дронів. Це один з найбільш перспективних напрямів в оборонній роботі зараз. Важливо, щоб були результати. І в усіх частинах нашої Європи має бути достатньо сили, щоб протидіяти будь-яким загрозам. І сучасні дрони – це реальний інструмент захисту.
As clashes intensify along the Thai-Cambodian border, the impact is being felt far from the front lines, leaving more than 500,000 Cambodian migrant workers in Thailand trapped in a state of limbo. Unable to return home safely, the workers are uncertain whether they can continue working in Thailand and anxious about what comes next. Thailand's labour-intensive economy relies heavily on hundreds of thousands of Cambodian workers who toil on fishing piers, construction sites and plantations. As border tensions continue to escalate, checkpoints have multiplied, border crossings are shuttered, and rumours now spread faster than facts, fanning suspicion and hostility toward an already vulnerable community. The situation is mirrored just across the border in Phuket, a Cambodian city known for its casinos and scam operations. Thai authorities estimate that between 5,000 and 6,000 Thai nationals remain stranded there, unable to cross back into Thailand due to the closed checkpoints. Like the Cambodian counterparts in Thailand, they too are suspended in uncertainty. The Cambodia-Thailand border conflict reignited on the 7th of December with both sides accusing the other of initiating the attack. A man armed with a knife who threatened bystanders and shopkeepers who shot dead in Corsica on Saturday, police said, as French authorities reinforce security measures during the festive season. Police said they received a call around noon about an individual threatening a shop with a knife in the city of Ajaccio. The 26-year-old had left the scene by the time officers arrived. He was later located elsewhere in the city centre, still holding a knife. Officers ordered him to drop the weapon, but he did not comply. An electrical impulse weapon was then used but failed to stop him. The man moved towards officers with the knife, prompting police to open fire. He died at the scene despite the intervention of emergency services. One police officer was slightly injured in the hand. According to authorities, the motive of the assailant was not immediately known. French Interior Minister Laurent Nunez said that vigilance is at its highest during the festive season, adding that he has ordered a reinforcement of public patrols. ByteDance signs deal to sell U.S. operations in joint venture Move. The United States military was seen operating in Puerto Rico on Saturday with a U.S. Air Force C-17 Globemaster III aircraft taking off from Medicine-Disa Airport in Ponce. Separately, a U.S. Navy guided missile destroyer, the USS Thomas Hudner, departed from the Port of the Americas on Puerto Rico's southern coast. The Trump administration has sent thousands of troops to the Caribbean along with an aircraft carrier, warships and fighter jets, carried out strikes against suspected drug vessels in the region, seized a sanctioned oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela and declared a blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers entering the leaving Venezuela. U.S. President Donald Trump has also repeatedly said that strikes on land in Venezuela are coming soon. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his government have vehemently denied links to crime and say that the U.S. is seeking to oust him in order to take control of Venezuela's vast oil reserves. Mounting economic difficulties and security concerns in Iran are prompting a significant exodus of Afghan migrants, with hundreds of thousands leaving the country in recent months. For decades, Iran has been a refuge for millions of Afghans fleeing conflict, poverty and instability, but this long-standing dynamic is now shifting sharply. At eastern border crossings such as Milak, thousands of Afghan migrants and refugees are passing through weekly, undergoing processing for deportation back to Afghanistan. Iranian authorities cite economic pressures and security considerations as primary reasons for these measures. Iranian officials have announced plans to permit the re-entry of certain individuals with sought-after skills or confirmed employment offers, aiming to strike a balance between security concerns and economic needs. Early signs suggest that the departure of undocumented Afghans has affected domestic demand for basic goods. Humanitarian organizations, including non-governmental organizations working alongside the United Nations, are striving to ensure that the deportation process adheres to international standards. A federal aviation safety investigator on Saturday revealed that a passenger texted emergency landing shortly before a Cessna private jet crashed and burned in Statesville, North Carolina on Thursday, killing all 7 people on board, including former NASCAR driver Greg Biffle and members of his family. NTSB board member Michael Graham also said the jet had been equipped with a black box, which was not required, and it said it had been taken to NTSB headquarters in Washington for analysis. The plane crashed at about 10:15 a.m. local time Thursday at Statesville Regional Airport. The North Carolina Highway Patrol said it is believed that Biffle and members of his immediate family were among those killed, but because of a severe post-crash fire, a formal confirmation has been not completed. The plane was registered to a company tied to Biffle. The plane had been bound for Florida, but soon after takeoff attempted to return to the North Carolina airport. Biffle, 55, won 19 Cup Series races over 20 years. His final race on the circuit was the 2022 Geico 500 at Talladega. He was named one of the NASCAR 75 greatest drivers in 2023. Chinese tech giant ByteDance, parent company of the popular app TikTok, has signed binding agreements to divest the app's most assets in the United States and form a joint venture with a group of mostly American investors in a crucial step towards avoiding a U.S. government ban. Under the agreements, ByteDance will retain 19.9% of the business, while U.S. cloud computing giant Oracle, private equity group Silver Lake, and Abu Dhabi-based investment firm MGX will each hold 15%. The remaining 30.1% will be held by affiliates of ByteDance's existing investors. The move follows U.S. President Donald Trump's order in September this year to delay the enforcement of a law that would ban TikTok unless it was sold. Although the transaction will not be complete until January 22nd, 2026, the move enables TikTok used by more than 170 million Americans to continue operating in the United States. In April 2024, during former President Joe Biden's administration, the U.S. Congress passed a law to ban TikTok over what it called national security concerns unless the app was sold. Seven elephants were killed and 1 injured when a Delhi-bound train collided with a herd in northeast India early on Saturday. North-East Frontier Railway said the incident in the Hojai district of Assam State occurred at a location that is not designated Elephant Corridor. The railway said in a statement that the locomotive pilot applied the emergency brakes upon seeing the herd, but the elephants rushed towards the train. The train travelling from Sairang in Mizoram State bordering Myanmar was bound for the national capital of New Delhi with 650 passengers on board when it hit with elephants. The collision at 2:17 a.m. local time caused the locomotive and 5 coaches of the train to derail, but no people were injured. The railway said trains scheduled to pass through the section are being diverted to another line. Speeding trains hitting wild elephants is not rare in Assam, which is home to an estimated 7,000 wild Asiatic elephants, one of the highest concentrations of the pachyderm in India since 2020. Coming up, 2025 SEA Games close with colourful ceremony in Bangkok.
My Card bukan sekadar kad pengenalan, tetapi medium utama yang menghubungkan rakyat dengan pelbagai perkhidmatan kerajaan dan swasta. Banyak insentif kerajaan disalurkan melalui My Card, daripada bantuan kebajikan, kemudahan kesihatan hinggalah pelbagai program rakyat. Inilah keistimewaan yang dimiliki oleh setiap warga negara Malaysia. Sila periksa keadaan My Card anda. Sekiranya chip rosak, hilang atau My Card sudah uzur, segera lakukan penggantian di Jabatan Pendaftaran Negara agar hak dan kemudahan anda sentiasa terjamin. Inilah komitmen madani. Dengan dokumen identiti yang sah, moden dan diyakini, rakyat disantuni sebaiknya. My Card, identiti anda, kebanggaan negara.
The 2025 SEA Games officially came to a close as the green flame of the biennial games was put out during a colourful and energetic closing ceremony at the Raja Mangala National Stadium in Bangkok last night. Cheers echoed throughout the stadium as the athletes' parade commenced, marking the appearance of sporting heroes and heroines representing 54 different sporting disciplines. The Malaysian contingent at the parade comprised 80 individuals, with senior sepak takraw player Farhan Adam given the honour of carrying the Jalur Gemilang. The SEA Games flame was then put out through the sound of whistle concept, where spectators were also invited to blow a whistle together as the official signal marking the end of the Games. The flags of the Southeast Asian Games Federation CGF and the 2025 SEA Games were lowered before being handed over to Youth and Sports Minister Dr. Muhammad Taufik Johari and Olympic Council of Malaysia OCM President Tan Sri Muhammad Nurza Zakaria as a symbolic gesture of Malaysia assuming host duties for the region's largest sporting event in 2 years' time. As the next host, Malaysia also contributed to the closing ceremony through the Rhythm of Harmony segment featuring local artists Mimi Fly and 60 dancers showcasing the country's cultural diversity and harmony. Malaysia finished 4th overall after winning 57 gold, 57 silver and 117 bronze medals, while host Thailand topped the medal standings with a tally of 233 gold, 154 silver and 112 bronze medals. Paris Olympics gold medalist Ahn Si-young beat Japan's Akane Yamaguchi 21-15, 21-12 in the last 4 of badminton's World Tour final in Hangzhou on Saturday to set up a little title clash with defending champion Wang Ziyi. Bidding for the second title at the season-ending championship, South Korea's AHN came at the world champion with power and pace, but Yamaguchi repelled the attacks with pinpoint accuracy from the front court. AHN's pressure eventually told, however, and she kept Yamaguchi off balance to take the match with quick rallies. In the second women's semi-final, Wang 25 dropped the first game to Ratchanok Intanon, who caused the Chinese player all sorts of problems with the variety of her shots. The Thai defended well on the backcourt, but Wang ticked up the aggression to take the second game. Wang's superior fitness began to tell in the third as the 30-year-old Ratanok tired and the Chinese player emerged with a 15-21, 21-17, 21-11 win to reach the final. On the men's side, Christo Popov defeated Japan's Kodai Naraoka's 21-19, 21-8 to reach the final in his tournament debut as a singles player. Naraoka displayed patience early on to slow Popov, but the Frenchman found success targeting his opponent's backhand before an unforced error from the Japanese player allowed Popov to take the lead. Gaining confidence, Popov upped the pace of his attacks with faster serves in the second game and picked up what was a comfortable win in the end. Liverpool manager Arne Slot said his side was showing signs of improvement in a chaotic 2-1 win at Tottenham Hotspur on Saturday, but bemoaned the loss of record signing Alexander Isak to potentially serious injury. The £125 million striker broke the deadlock with his second league goal for Liverpool, having come on at half-time, but his foot got caught between Mikey van der Vaan's legs as the Spurs defender dived to block his shot.
It's a good thing that he scored. Good goal, assisted by Florian Wirtz. Said last week already that players are getting better, our team is getting better. Again, wasn't perfect today, especially not in the last 10 minutes. But in the meantime, we pick up points, and I see the team developing in the way I would like them to see.
Isak spent several minutes on the floor before walking off gingerly with the help of two members of Liverpool's medical staff, and Slot said his gut feeling was Isak's injury could be a serious one, though he tried to be optimistic. Liverpool seemed to have wrapped up the win when Hugo Ekitike doubled their lead, but substitute Richarlison set up a tense finish with an 83rd minute goal for Spurs, down to 10 men after Xavi Simon's first half red card. The Confederation of African Football announced on Saturday that the Africa Cup of Nations will in the future be held every 4 years instead of every 2 years. The surprise decision was made at the body's executive committee meeting in the Moroccan capital and announced at a press conference by CAF President Patrice Motsepe. The tournament, which brings in an estimated 80% of CAF's revenue, has traditionally been held every 2 years since its inception in 1957. Motsepe said the next Cup of Nations final, scheduled for 2027 in Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda, will go ahead, and then another tournament would be held in 2028, but after that it will be hosted every 4 years. Motsepe announced the launch of an African Nations League annually from 2029 to fill the gap, following the example of Europe, which holds its championship every 4 years. The timing of AFCON has long courted controversy because it has usually been hosted in the middle of the European season, forcing clubs to release their African players. Motsepe also said there would be an immediate increase in prize money, with the winners of this edition getting $10 million compared to $7 million for the last Cup of Nations won by Ivory Coast. Up next, giant gingerbread village comes alive in New York. The title of the world's largest gingerbread house now belongs to Disney Plus and Hulu, as verified by the Guinness World Records. To celebrate the 35th anniversary of their film Home Alone, the entertainment companies constructed a home measuring 44,838 cubic feet in 8 days. The home is a replica of the McAllister home featured in the film, starring a then 9-year-old Macaulay Culkin. Held together with 20 gallons of edible glue, the home is 34 feet long, 58 feet wide, and over 22 feet tall, and is built out of 4,200 gingerbread brick tiles and nearly 1,800 roof tiles. 10 pounds of fondant help hold the spectacle together, which was made with 7,350 pounds of all-purpose flour and over 6,600 eggs. Produced by John Hugh and directed by Chris Columbus, the 1990 film Home Alone became an instant holiday classic that is still beloved all over the world. Culkin's portrayal of Kevin McAllister earned him a Golden Globe nomination and worldwide acclaim. Gingerbread Lane has returned, a sprawling winter wonderland made entirely of cookies, candy and frosting. This marks the 32nd season of Gingerbread Lane and the 14th year it has been on display in New York City. The village features 755 gingerbread structures, all baked and decorated by creator John Lavich, who holds the Guinness World Record for the largest gingerbread village. The professional chef turned baker turned gingerbread maker bakes and decorates every single house by hand, not in a commercial kitchen, but in the basement of his Queens home. This year, he made more than 3,000 houses for 5 exhibits in cities across the United States.
This is the 32nd season that we've done Gingerbread Lane. We started in 1994, and this is our 14th season here in New York City, being the largest in the world. We have 755 houses. The current world record that we have is 1,251, but since we're still reigning champ, we're allowed to continue to say we're the largest in the world.
Santa Claus traded his sleigh for scuba gear this week, diving into the depths of South America's largest marine aquarium to spread Christmas cheer on Thursday. The Aquarium of Rio de Janeiro, the magic of Christmas, took an underwater twist as Santa and Mrs. Claus plunged into the massive tank, dressed in the iconic red suits and carrying oxygen tanks and long flippers. The festive divers brought a Christmas tree with them, creating a unique spectacle that combines ocean conservation with holiday spirit.
É mágico. Todo ano é uma magia que trazia a conservação do meio ambiente, dos oceanos, junto com o espírito natalino.
The festive display has become a beloved attraction, drawing locals and tourists to see Santa surrounded by sharks, rays and tropical fish instead of reindeer and elves.
Tô surpresa, achava que ele dava presente só pra gente, né? Só pra ser humano, mas pelo visto ele dá presente pra peixe também. Olha que incrível. E inclusão sempre. Coisa boa.
That concludes today's edition of World Today. In our top story, children dying of coal exposure as winter hits Gaza. Till then, I'm Olivia Nicholas. Salam Malaysia Madani. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant afternoon.